back.
Is that how we start this thing?
Yeah, welcome back to the broadcast. 1-800, I don't know. How do the radio stations? 4-800 The Wind or something like that. That's what they're called.
1-800?
Yeah, 1-800
Did you start
is
with
like
1-800,
yeah.
like the toll-free number?
Yeah, then I realized I was wrong.
All right, Jace, are you ready for my unruly question?
I'm ready. I prepared my body, mind, and soul.
That's more than I did. So, I guess my unruly segment begins with a first question.
Okay.
Have you been watching Severance?
No.
First off, why not?
I was too busy watching Wicked 3 days in a row.
Severance has been out. This is season 2.
Yeah.
Season 1 came out 3 years ago.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've had time.
I've seen that.
Oh, you've seen the first
Yeah, I've
season?
seen the first season. I thought you just exclusively
Okay,
talking
so
about
you just
season
haven't been
2.
watching currently.
Yeah.
All right. So, here is my unruly question. I mean, it's not super unruly. It's just literally all I've been thinking about.
Okay.
Jace, would you sever?
Would I sever?
Would you sever?
No.
Why not?
Because I wouldn't want to be cut off from my labor, even though...
From your what?
From my labor.
Oh, I thought you said my flavor. What if I lose my sparkle?
Yeah.
Did you like season 1?
Yes. I did like it. It was very good.
Très magnifique.
Magnifique.
I don't speak French, but that's the little bit of French I know.
Who
so
is
good.
it? Ben Stiller? He like I don't know, did he like write it or was he like the showrunner?
He's an executive producer. He directed a good chunk of season 1.
Okay.
I think he's directing a decent chunk of season 2 as well. But yeah, he's an executive producer, and he's... Ben Stiller, man. It's only in like probably the past 5 or 6 years that I've begun to realize how talented he really is.
Yeah, Jalen.
Because he's in like silly stuff.
Uh-huh.
But he's a freaking genius.
Yeah. Jalen, after watching...
I've really enjoyed, like, anything he directs.
Severance. Jalen, after watching Severance, was like, should I have been holding Ben Stiller in regards of being a genius? Like... And the answer is
like,
yes.
this whole time, right?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, but then sometimes you watch Zoolander and you're like, maybe?
That movie's smarter than Severance.
No, this is coming from someone who thought Zoolander was hilarious, but I did watch it for the first time like a year ago, so it was a good time.
Wow.
I guess the real unruly question, Jace, is could you beat Severance?
Could I beat Severance?
Could you beat it? Yep.
I don't know.
Trick question. We don't know how any of this ends, so...
Yeah.
Can anybody beat Severance?
Who knows if my innie has the gumption to do it.
There's a bunch of us at work. There's like 4 of us at work that have been watching it. And so since episode 2 came out yesterday, one of the guys on the team, he messaged the other 3 of us and was like, "Happy Severance Day, fellow innies." I was like, this is the best day ever. I love Severance Day.
Wow. Would you sever?
No.
Yeah.
No. When the concept first came out, I was kind of like, If you had asked me pre-watching Severance, before I watched Severance, if, like, given the option, would you sever your 2 realities of work and your personal life? I might be like, that doesn't sound terrible.
Mm-hmm.
After watching Severance, the answer is absolutely not.
I mean,
but
yeah, the answer is obvious.
I think that was the point. Maybe that was what they were going for the whole time.
Yeah. I would definitely not do it. Because I feel like...
Basically, my unruly segment was I'm obsessed with Severance, and I just really wanted to talk about it.
already people are like isolated from their labor. Like if you work in a canning factory, you don't get to see the profits that those cans make, and you don't get to see people use those cans. You're pretty much isolated from your labor. You don't see how it impacts anything.
Yep.
And this would only, further isolate you from your labor.
Yeah.
But it would be perfect for, businesses, because you literally just have a drone that only works.
Businesses and like military contracts would be stoked. They'd be like, top secret who? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks for texting me earlier to remind me that I had the unruly segment.
You're welcome. I wish you did that for me last time.
This baby is eating my brain.
That's fair.
I can't remember anything.
Can you remember which movie we watched, Braylee?
Wicked, baby. Which, I'm going to be honest, I didn't rewatch it this week. I've seen it 3 times already, though. So I was like, well,
enough of it.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
And I listen to the music. I do listen to the music. I do still tend to lean towards the musical soundtrack when I listen to music, except
That's
for Dancing Through Life.
Oh.
Dancing Through Life is so good. Jonathan Bailey does such a good job. So, anyway. So, Jace, this was your first watch through, right?
Yep. My first.
Tell me, has your life changed?
I would say no. But for 2.5 hours, my life was pretty entertained.
The bare minimum from a movie
Yeah.
is hopefully that you're entertained the whole time you're watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
Tell me
She
what
was
your
green.
exposure to Wicked before watching it was.
Oh, that's a good question. Not much. I know it's like probably like one of the biggest Broadway plays ever done, and I knew a couple of the songs because my sisters sung them pretty good. But yeah, and I knew it was about the 2 witches in Wizard of Oz, and how they kind of became friends. Except I didn't know, like, if they unbecame friends at the end, or like what the rest of the plot was, other than like college drama comedy. But
Mm-hmm. And then you realized it was only part 1,
yeah,
and you were like, "What?"
and this movie's a part 1, which is lame. But
Yeah.
and
Just so you know, the whole entire musical on Broadway has about a 2-hour and 41-minute runtime
wow,
for the
I thought it was-
entire
I
musical.
thought it was 3 hours, but that's even worse.
I mean, ish. Like, this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes. The Broadway runs about 3 hours, I think, including intermission.
Intermission, yeah,
You're running for about 3
that
hours
makes sense.
for the whole story.
No intermission in this movie.
Nope. It would have been nice.
But
I had to pee.
this movie is surprisingly like a full story, though. At least I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it has like a beginning, middle, and
Yeah.
end. Like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the whole first act. Like, when you go see it in theater, in the musical, like in theaters,
It's made up of 2
Defying
acts.
Gravity happens.
The play is 2 acts, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So Defying Gravity is, when you go to the musical, is intermission. Like, you do Defying Gravity and then you go to intermission.
Okay.
So that's why it's like part 1. And so, it's not the full story then either. But, I mean, if you're going to go to an intermission, you still need to have like some things kind of wrapped up story-wise for people to feel okay going to intermission but still want to come back and learn a little bit more too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was not optimistic about how good it was going to be.
Neither was I.
Just because, like, a lot of musical to movie adaptations just... They're two different mediums, and they're two different mediums kind of for a reason sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when you try and take it from musical into movie, people don't expand on the right things. Sometimes they just go for, well, a lot of times they just go for, like, big name actors for the, like, the name recognition and for the publicity, as opposed to, like, really getting people who can sing too. And so sometimes you're stuck watching this movie musical where you're like, there are so many good singers, and you chose this person. I'm so upset. But I did not feel that way at all about any of the Wicked people.
Like you do an Into the Woods movie, and you get James Corden to be in it.
I've actually not seen Into the Woods.
It's not a good one.
But I've heard that. I have heard that.
Also, this adaptation was announced in 2012. Originally had a different director. Now has a different director, for the finished product. And also,
he did so well.
And also, I had to go through COVID and like SAG strikes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it is honestly surprising that it's not terrible. It was fighting an uphill battle.
They did so good. I'm still like so impressed at how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ready for part 2, baby.
So am I.
I'm really hoping that when they release part 2, that they'll be doing like a re-release of part 1 in theaters.
Yeah.
And you can go watch it
get a double
for 6
feature.
hours straight. Uh-huh.
That'd be crazy.
You can go watch part 1, break for lunch or dinner or whatever, and then go watch part 2.
Wow. I will not be doing that when it comes out.
I 1000% will be doing that when it comes out if they do that. 1000%. Because I'm part of a book club, and it's really just us texting about books. We don't meet up because we don't have time. But we went and saw Wicked together. And so we're already talking about how if they don't do that, we're doing it ourselves, and we'll watch part 1 in somebody's house and have lunch or brunch or whatever, and then we'll go see part 2 all together. Wow. We'll create our own marathon.
Yeah. That'll be cute.
We're pretty adorable. What can I say? All right, Jace. So, not having had a whole lot of exposure to Wicked, do you have a favorite number? Like a favorite musical number from it?
Either like Popular or Loathing. Those are the ones that like stick in my mind the most. And those are also probably the ones I've heard the most in my life.
Right.
But yeah, I like those ones.
Those are good ones.
I did
like those.
In the movie Loathing, I feel like it doesn't have as much attitude as like the theatrical song does.
I agree. I also feel like the first 3 songs, the No One Mourns the Wicked.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Loathing. There's another one, though. No One Mourns the Wicked. There's 3.
Not Popular?
No,
Dancing?
because Popular's after.
Oh,
Dancing
first
Through
3.
Life is amazing. What are the very... Yeah. Oh my gosh. No One Mourns the Wicked. Loathing. Maybe it's just those 2. No. The Wizard and I.
Oh, yes.
So it's No One Mourns the Wicked, The Wizard and I, Loathing. In that order. Those felt like they also did not have like quite the right balance of soundtrack behind them.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Because I've seen it 3 times now. And so The first time I saw it in theaters, I was sitting there. So I went with my mother-in-law. I went with Meredith. I went with Ty's mom. And I was sitting there and I was like, this doesn't feel as powerful as it should be. Like, there's not enough, like, melting my face off with this music. Like, No One Mourns the Wicked is huge. Like, it builds and it builds and it builds. And it didn't feel like it was, like, the music was at the level where it should have been.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's a little weird.
Okay.
And so then those other two songs happened. And I was like, I don't think our sound is set up right in this theater. Because these are weird. So during Something Bad Is Happening in Oz, I went to the front desk and I was like, we're in this auditorium and I don't think that your guys' balance is right. Because if I were to listen to Defying Gravity like this right now, it would not wipe my face off. And I will be mad. Like, I'm going to be so mad if I get to this point. And so the guy was like, okay, I'll turn it up and blah, 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 blah. And it did get better after that.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, maybe their levels were just off. So then I went and saw it again the next week. And to be fair, I did end up in we went to the exact same theater. My second group went to the exact same theater. We ended up in the exact same auditorium. And I felt the exact same way about those first three songs. And I was like, what the heck? But I waited it out. And Dancing Through Life came on. And I didn't go talk to anybody or anything. And Dancing Through Life had that, like, oomph behind it that I expected. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't talk to anybody this time. So is it just, like, the way it's set up? And then Mom and Dad bought it. And we watched it in their house. And I still felt the same way about the first three songs. And I was like, is it just not, like, enough oomph? Like, you guys didn't put enough bass behind your thing? Like, I don't understand exactly what's going on, but I feel like the audio balance was a little off for, like, the first three songs of the movie.
That's so
and
funny.
I don't know if you felt that way at all.
You saw it, like, twice in the theater.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like there was some oomph to it. Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely some oomph. Like, it wasn't terrible. I'm just saying, like, I've seen all of the, like, Avengers movies. I've seen a bunch of them in theaters. And their little score soundtrack is running behind. And my face is already melting off because, like, the sound is so loud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's 1,000% what needs to happen the entire time I'm watching Wicked.
Yeah.
Because I'm here for the songs. So. But maybe I just need to try it again. I need to just watch it again for a fourth time. See if I still feel that way.
Again.
But,
maybe when they
it's just one of those
re-release
things where I was like, maybe it's just me. And, like, listening to it, I was like, maybe it's just me. But Dancing Through Life and On, totally fine.
Yeah.
And I don't really like the song Something Bad Is Happening in Oz anyway, so I don't really care how they mix it. It's whatever.
There was like
all of the other ones and On.
Something that I found weird
was totally fine.
Was like in some of the songs, they kind of like stop the song in the middle and then talk a little bit and then they continue the song. And I'm like, oh, we're still in the song. I forgot we were still in this song. And I just find it so weird and so peculiar. But I don't know if I'm a weirdo for that one.
I feel like have you just not watched a lot of musicals?
I've seen movie musicals. But like they usually they do like a little rendition while they're like talking of the song, right? They do like, okay, we'll strip it down to like piano and like bare instrumentals as they're talking, and it's kind of like following the beat.
Gotcha.
The conversation's like following the beat of the song and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they stopped the song, or maybe I didn't pay attention enough. But I feel like they like stopped the song and then they started again.
Gotcha. I didn't notice that.
I don't know if I'm crazy.
But yeah, that's not something I picked up on. Maybe it's because I was worrying about why my first three songs didn't have enough oomph to them.
But there's like the part during like Popular, I think, is when she's like giving her like a little makeover, and then after that, they start singing again.
Yeah. No, I definitely didn't feel that during that. And maybe that's because...
It's kind of specific.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'll have to go back specifically with that in mind now. I don't think so, because it is pretty, like...
Yeah, I want to go back again, see if I'm actually...
See if you're crazy.
Speaking truth here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So popular or loathing were your two. That were like your top two. Yeah. Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Loathing is just fun.
Loathing is fun.
Popular is also just fun. And then
Yeah.
mine,
Like the fun ones.
I mean, obviously I love Defying Gravity because I'm not a moron. Defying Gravity is incredible. But I would say of this, and I'm not calling you a moron, Jace, even though it sounds like I just did. That's not what I was saying.
I'm a moron.
You moron. I would say from the movie, though, my favorite is Dancing Through Life. I absolutely adore, like, the way it was filmed. It was so fun to watch. And Jonathan Bailey does such a good job. Like, that's the one where I was going back and I was listening to the musical soundtrack. And, like, Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel are amazing. So, and I like some of the score of the musical version for some of the songs a lot more. And so I just kind of like to listen to that. But then I listened to Dancing Through Life from the original soundtrack, and I was like, this is kind of boring compared to Jonathan Bailey's Dancing Through Life. He's like living free and cutting it loose like nobody's business.
Wow.
So, and like you can just like hear it even in the soundtrack and everything. So, all of that, like the choreography was incredible.
Yeah, that's the one that's like in the library, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then like the
that was a cool...
the spinning
cool
library and the way that they used all of that was super cool. It was really awesome.
Yeah, that was dope.
Side note, do you want to hear what my son said about my giant zit on my forehead today?
Something rude, I bet.
It wasn't rude. He's only 3. He was just making an observation.
Okay.
Listeners, I have a giant zit, like, right in between my eyebrows right now. And Hudson goes, whoa, what fell on your face? I was like, nothing, bud. It's growing out of my face. And he goes, oh, you should put that back in your face. And I was like, you're not wrong. I'm trying. I'm trying my best.
He only speaks the truth.
So, it's a good
Put
time.
that thing back where it came from.
Or so help me.
Or so help me.
It's from the musical we're doing. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me. And cut. So what were your, like, expectations going into this, Jace?
Sucks.
What?
Sucks. That was my expectation.
Sucks?
Yep. No.
Did you say your expectation was that it would suck?
But that
Honestly,
was
same.
me being that was me being hyperbolic. My expectation, like pre-release, my expectation that it would suck. Post-release, I was hearing people were saying it was actually pretty good, and I was like, okay, it'll probably be pretty decent. And I went in with that, and I was like, it was actually pretty good.
From sucks to decent to good.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
What more could you ask for?
Hear that, Cynthia Erivo? Ariana Grande?
Here's a line that I wrote down from Galinda. When she's writing to her parents, she says, "Dearest, darlingest, Momsy, and Popsicle."
And Popsicle?
And Popsicle, yeah. I had to play it back because I was like, I didn't hear that right.
Did you hear she called him Popsicle at the beginning, too, when she was saying bye before,
Did she?
Uh-huh.
I did not hear that.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, the original musical, too. It's Dearest, darlingest, Mumsy, and Popsicle. My favorite part because this was added, was the, or at least, it was the, guess what? And she goes, I can't hear your guesses because this is a letter.
Yeah. Ariana Grande was pretty good. Really good.
She did a really good job.
My favorite joke was when they're at this secret Easy Speak animal meeting.
Uh-huh.
And the Peter Dinklage goat goes, a dear friend of mine. And one of them goes, a deer? A cow, actually.
That was a good one. I liked that one, too. One of my favorite ones, I don't know if I have a favorite, but one of my favorite ones is when Elphaba and Fiyero meet up in the forest. That, like, whole interaction where he's just like, I'm sorry I didn't see you. You must have blended in with the foliage. And then they're still going back and forth, and she's like, oh, fine, I'm not seasick, blah, 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 and I didn't eat grass as a kid. And he's like, I did.
Yeah.
It's so good. I like it.
That guy's pretty cool, the Prince guy.
Fiyero.
Yeah.
There's so many good songs coming in part 2 that I'm so excited for.
How many more songs are left?
How many songs are left?
Yeah. Did they make it? Did they, like, extend a song in this?
No, I don't think so. But part 2 is going to include 2 new original songs.
That's probably what I was thinking about.
I think so.
Yeah.
But they are written by
like...
Stephen Schwartz, who is the original composer. So
okay. It feels like this movie feels a little bloated to me.
Explain yourself.
And I'm worried that the second act, though I don't really know the story structure of the second act, will be pretty bloated as well.
All right, so there's 19, so there'll be 21, and they did 1 through 11 in part 1.
What is this feeling? Does it have a name?
So explain to me the bloated. Tell me more.
Yeah. Some scenes just go on for way too long. Elphaba, her like little childhood backstory, you could cut that down a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause like I don't really need to know that she was, like emotionally abused as a child. I can already get that from her interactions with her father
mm-hmm.
and her interactions with every single person in this movie. I did have a feeling where like I get this feeling for certain movies where I'm just like, I want to go and cut this movie up a bit. And I think I could make it like a lot better. That's so like arrogant of me to be like, I could do better.
I could have made this better. Could have done it.
Yeah.
And I could have done it for $135 million.
Yeah.
No.
I could have beat those professional editors.
No, I totally understand what you mean, because Caitlin and I were talking about this. Our sister Caitlin. I only say that. I know like 78 Caitlins right now in my life. I know. I can think of 3 off the top of my head that I regularly interact with.
Popular name.
Popular name. And amazing women. Love them. Because, like, you can tell that, like, Elphaba and Fiyero are kind of falling for each other. And, that's, like, part of the plot and everything. And that's part of the plot in the first thing. And so when we found out that the movie is only part 1, that is like 3 hours, we're like, oh, sweet. They're going to develop that love story between Fiyero and Elphaba a little bit more. And they did not. That's basically the exact same way that it goes in the musical. And Caitlin and Danielle and Caitlin had literally just seen Wicked, probably just a couple of months on Broadway, like, before this came out. And like Caitlin loved it too. Like don't get me wrong, she was like it was so good. But also at the same time I was like, how is part 1 the same length as the entire musical? And like they didn't develop their love story anymore. And like I get it. I mean,
they saved a cub together.
Yeah. That's literally what happens in the
Wasn't that
musical.
awesome? Oh,
and
okay.
that's like the amount of time that it takes in the musical to do it. And then they're in love.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about that because we're like, so then what did you add to make it so much longer? and there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, you do get the ability to show a lot more background than you do in musical theater. I mean, no one's going to sit there for 6 straight hours. So being able to split it up into 2 parts. I did like seeing a little bit more of Elphaba's background, but maybe a little less would have been okay. And then there are just some like scenes where you're like, we didn't need to see that much of the scenery. We get it. It's okay. We know where we are. But I also get that like literally everybody involved in this project is so in love and so obsessed with Wicked and just so determined to bring it to life as much as they can, that I think that they get like blinders a little bit, and they're like, but I fell in love with this part because of some backstory, because of filming and stuff that we just don't get. And so we're like, well, you could have cut it and it would have been fine. I would have lived. Thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish that they expanded more on like the politics of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the movie, we realized that the wizard is behind the animals being arrested or dehumanized and stuff like that. And the explanation is just like, well, we need a common enemy to be like united and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like, is Oz in disarray? Like, it doesn't look like it is. Like,
Well, it's not anymore because he united them against the animals, right?
the animals, yeah.
No, I agree with you though.
Maybe we'll get more in the second act, but like either like there doesn't seem to be a reason. Like there's like 2 reasons I would think. Like either the wizard's like bigoted against animals for whatever reason, or the wizard genuinely believes that the wizard is doing bad at governing, and he believes that, arresting the animals will make things better.
Right. Because they allude to it a little bit in the, like when they go to the Emerald City and they have like the little play that's about their like background, where they had like the great beings that could do magic and then they all disappeared. And then the wizard showed up and now he can do magic too. But they didn't allude to it super well. Because you're like, you just couldn't do magic. Like, what, was everybody fighting and killing each other because you couldn't do magic? And then he brought that order back because suddenly he could do magic? Like, is that what was happening? Or was it just like it's a bummer, we can't do magic type of a situation? During that scene in the Emerald City, when they are having that little background story, did you recognize the 2 women that came out? The blonde and the dark-haired lady.
No.
I knew you wouldn't have. That is the original Glinda and Elphaba from the original Broadway musical. So that was Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel.
Wow. That makes sense.
It was so great.
That makes sense.
When they came out, I was like, I love them.
You were clapping.
I was.
In the theater.
Very quietly. Not like our big clap to signify the beginning of our recording, but just little claps. Yeah. So that was fun.
That's pretty cool.
With like some cameos and stuff like that. Just super cool. But yeah, that was really awesome. And then what did you think of Jeff Goldblum as the wizard?
Oh, he was good. Yeah. I liked him. I think he's definitely a good pick for, like, you know, someone that literally gets off by their charm alone.
That's true.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how, like, that's basically the only type of character Jeff Goldblum even plays anymore. And it's not really a character. It's just Jeff Goldblum dressed up as somebody else with somebody else's name, just being Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
They were like...
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, just like a tad bit annoying sometimes when you're, like, seeing it in another movie thing. Because you're like, it's not really the wizard. It's just Jeff Goldblum. But, I mean, he played it well. So, it's still...
Yeah,
it
he
worked.
played it well. And he's one of those actors where, like, he's just so... like, charismatic. And even if he's in a crappy movie, he can, like, spin poor writing into lines of gold.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Which, let's be clear, this was not that movie. This movie was good.
Yeah. This wasn't a terrible movie.
I love this movie. It's so good.
You know what I found funny during the wizard scene?
What did you find funny?
He's like, I'm building, like, this road to, like, lead to Emerald City, and, like, I just haven't decided on the color yet.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, purple, yellow, blue, red. And it's like, oh, go back to yellow. I wish that Glinda was like, oh, go back to yellow. And then everyone was like, no, that's stupid. We don't like that one. And then they just move on. Yeah. Like, we'll decide it later, whatever. So, in Wicked, is, like, Elphaba, like, a freedom fighter in the second half of the story?
Basically.
Wow. And then she just basically gets, like, branded as, like, a terrorist. And,
Not basically branded.
then,
At the end, she is already branded. Part 1, she's already branded as a terrorist.
yeah. Yeah, she is, isn't she?
Yeah. Yep. We get a
That's
lot of...
pretty out there.
You get a lot
She's
of
evil.
things in the second act that elude and tie really well into The Wizard of Oz.
Is Dorothy in the play? The musical?
Very end.
The very end.
Very end.
That does make sense. No one mourns the wicked.
Good news.
Straya told me that during one of the showings of Wicked that it was like it was right after, the showing was right after the Queen of England had died, and they came on stage and were like, this song you're about to hear, like, we're sorry about the death of Queen Elizabeth, and the song you're about to hear doesn't reflect, like, anything in real life. Like, and then, you know, it plays the song, No One Mourns the Wicked.
That's
the Wicked
funny.
Witch is dead, yay.
That's hilarious.
I think the fact that they have to come on stage and say that it doesn't apply to her is pretty damning.
Might be not the greatest.
Oh, that's so funny, though. I can't wait to find out what happens in the rest of the story. It's gonna be like The Hobbit. The third movie in that trilogy is, like, pretty much completely made up, and, like, there's gonna be, like, an epic 2-hour-long battle, I bet. Do you think so, Braylee?
Yeah. Let's canonize it here, folks. That's what's gonna happen.
We should do a bet, Braylee. $15 says that the second Wicked movie will be bad.
If you had asked me to take this bet before I watched the first one and knew about how good it was, I would have taken you up on that so fast, but I'm not going to take that action. I think it's going to be great.
You think it's going to be great?
I do.
Okay.
It better be.
So you should take me up on the bet.
There's like 3 songs in there Yeah, I'll take you up on that bet. I'll take the opposing position.
Okay.
$15.
And we've solidified it. And
we just shook hands, folks.
Yep.
Virtually. Considering the fact that Jace is in Utah and I am here.
Also in this movie, they say words like, they give them, stupid ending to them. Gratitudious. Or something like that.
Oh, the made up words?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very much so in the musicals and stuff too. Like, that's not something they did for the movie.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I figured that they were, but yeah.
I literally, for a long time, though, listened to that movie where they're like, there's a definite chance that if you work as you should, you'll be making good. And I literally thought that this person was just saying, like, definite-ish. Like, there's a definite chance you probably sort of could.
That's fair.
It took me a while to realize it was just, like...
made up weirdo stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to guess 245.
You're 100 mil over. It was 145.
Dang.
That's actually less than I thought it was going to be as well.
Yeah, that was less. I would have expected with all the trouble it went through that it would have been way higher.
Right.
But,
well,
yeah, I thought it would be like a really bloated... I mean, it's still a lot of money, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it does say 145 million. Now, to be fair, it looks like For Good, the second part, is going to be 165 million.
So together they're quite a lot. About 300 mil.
They are indeed quite a lot.
What was the budget of that Indiana Jones movie?
The last one?
The latest one. Yeah. It was something ridiculous.
Is that was that 5?
Yeah.
No way. What? 387 million?
It was that much?
$387 million.
I thought it was in the high 200s, but I didn't know it was that much.
It's saying that this included $79 million in post-production costs, which still would have put it over $300 million before.
I mean, post-production costs is
what?
That's insane.
That's insane. Honestly, Jace, I might get dragged for this. I don't even care. That movie was trash.
I don't think anyone's gonna drag you for that, Braylee.
There are just some people that really love Indiana Jones no matter what. So maybe they will, but they don't listen to our podcast. So that movie was trash.
That movie does not have shooters. Yeah.
387. That movie is so bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the most expensive movies ever made.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Isn't well written.
Not well written at all. Stupid story. It dragged. About halfway through, I was like,
long.
I think I'm going to just go to sleep so I don't have to finish this. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. You want to talk about bloated? Watch this movie.
Straight up. Don't watch this movie. It's terrible. Great, Jace. Now we have to go watch it so we can review it and drag it on our podcast.
That would be kind of good.
That would be fun.
That'd be kind of good. I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I like a lot of his other movies. A lot of the other movies they did. But man, Dial of Destiny was horrible.
Yeah.
I think it was worse than.
You can feel.
The Crystal Skull. Is that the other one that everybody hates?
Yeah.
I think it was worse.
Crystal Skull. I don't love the Crystal Skull, but it's still directed by Steven Spielberg. Mm-hmm. And you can still feel it because it's like good looking and composed well. And not something that I can really say for the fifth one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, the third movie, like, dang, I love that movie so much.
Which one's the third?
It's with his dad, Sean Connery.
Okay, yeah. I think that's Ty's favorite.
And an evil Nazi girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. I think that's Ty's favorite one.
Yeah. When he grabs him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And he's holding him over the cliff and he's reaching for the goblet. And he's like, let it go, Junior. And it's so beautiful.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be a test. Because he has told me 9 million times. I think for Ty, it's number 3, number 1, I want to say 2, and then 4, and then 5. I'm going to go get him so he can tell us. And we can see how well I know my husband and how well I can remember things. I think I got it wrong. Into the microphone. In order, what are your Indiana Jones rankings?
The order of which movies I like the best?
Yeah.
To the worst.
You sprung this on me. I wasn't quite ready. The number 3, The Last Crusade, is the best one.
I think you got it, Braley.
And then number 1, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Number 2, The Temple of Doom. Number 5, Dial of Destiny. And number 4, The Crystal Skull.
I messed up the last 2, but I got the first 3 right.
Nice.
We were,
That's surprising.
we started recording about Wicked, and now we're talking about Indiana Jones, so obviously.
Sounds like a good episode.
Let me see, I'm trying to do an output so you can hear James.
I would go...
Go. I made it so Ty can hear you.
Oh, nice. I didn't expect number 4 to be the worst one.
I do not like number 4 very much.
But Dial of Destiny was so bad.
That's fair.
Well, I don't like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull very much. I have a lot of problems with it, mostly from
that's very fair.
Like, it's not a bad movie, but it's a bad Indiana Jones movie. And I feel like Dial of Destiny is a bad movie, but it's a good Indiana Jones movie, if that makes any sense. Like, the things that matter to me...
Interesting.
The things that not all movies, but long-running series like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or something, they need to feel like a movie that fits in their canon, in their thing. And Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did not feel like Indiana Jones to me. It felt more like it was an action adventure, but it felt like it was inspired by Indiana Jones as opposed to being actually Indiana Jones. And Dial of Destiny was not a good movie by any means, but it did feel like Indiana Jones again. So, for that reason alone, it beats
That's
it
fair.
out.
All right, Jason, what's your ranking?
That's fair enough. I would go 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. But I kind of flip between 3 and 1, so yeah.
3 and 1 are definitely the best.
Yeah, definitely.
I personally think 3 does some things better. Like, I feel like 3 is both a good movie and a good Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, it takes the win for me. But I can respect Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's a solid pick.
Come closer because I am about to tell
Raiders
you what
is-
the budget for Indiana Jones 5 was. $387 million.
Yeah, the CGI in that movie. They did a heavy CGI there.
Well, it also sucked, but we were looking up because we've been looking at budgets on all the things that we work on. So Wicked Part 1 was $145 million. And then Wicked Part 2 is slated to be $165 million. And then Jace was like, I'm pretty sure, like, Dial of Destiny was obscene. And I was like, I don't even know. And I looked it up. $387 million.
I wonder how much of that went to salaries, because they had several big name people in that movie.
$79 million of it was post-production costs. Which I assume is CGI, right?
Probably.
So.
I mean, at least part of it.
And they probably also had to do a bunch of recuts and reshoots, if I had to guess.
But anyway, Jason and I have decided we are going to make ourselves watch the Dial of Destiny so we can drag it on the pod. So
I didn't agree, actually.
Do what?
I did not agree.
You said it would be dope.
Yeah, it would be
That's
funny.
you
It would be
agreeing.
funny.
Saying something is dope as you agreeing. So we'll have you on for
But
that
it's
one.
such a long movie. It's such a long...
We can have Ty on for that one.
I was complaining about Wicked being slightly bloated, but And the Dial of Destiny makes Wicked look like the best paced film in movie history.
Agreed.
At least with Wicked, it felt like something was happening the whole time. There's too many movies out there that are like, you get to the 2-hour mark and you're just like, when is nothing's happening. When are we doing something here? But with Wicked, something was going on the whole time.
Or you get to some movies and you're like, wow, we're 45 minutes in and I feel like this could be over now. And you're like, I have another 2 hours of this movie. What could possibly happen? I was just trying to see if I got your rankings right. I messed up the last two.
You were close.
But I was close. I got your first three, which are the most important. So,
Do you have a ranking, Braylee?
probably 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. I think, is that the same as you? Yeah.
Game recognized game.
Game recognized game, baby.
We should label this episode Wicked / Indiana Jones.
Apparently, Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Parentheses, which we actually kind of hate.
Yeah.
We'll have to add that one to our list.
Dial of Destiny. Yay.
But overall, Wicked Part 1, real good. Very excited for Part 2. And it comes out
Indeed.
this year.
It does?
Yeah, it comes out in November of this year.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You know what else was supposed to come out this fall?
What?
The Batman Part 2.
With Robert Pattinson?
But it got delayed to 27.
That's with Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
To 27?
Yeah.
What the heck?
I don't know what happened.
Crazy. He's going to be an old man by
Crazy.
then. Old man Batman.
Old man Batman. The Dark Knight Returns.
To his grave.
Well, I'm hyped to see the second one.
Don't worry, we'll do it on the pod, guys.
Yeah. Hopefully be bad so I can win $15.
Jason's going to owe me $15. I'm not even worried about it. I'm not even sweating this.
Okay, but could you beat it, Braylee? Real quick.
Could I beat racism? Is that the question? Because I'm pretty sure the answer is we're still working on it, friends. The age-old question of could I beat
We beat it.
The Wicked Part 1? It depends on which person I am. Could you beat it, Jace?
I could beat up the wizard.
Oh, I could beat up Jeff Goldblum. I could just beat up Jeff Goldblum, I'm pretty sure.
Or maybe I'd be too charmed. I'd never actually see through his non-magicalness.
I saw that coming from a mile away. Could I beat it? I like to think so, yes.
In the original Oz, the wizard isn't portrayed as like particularly like villainous, is he?
Like in Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. He's not a good guy, I don't think.
He's not a good guy. I'm trying to remember. I literally just watched Oz Jr. the other day. I mean, he kind
Oz
of,
Jr.
it's, I don't know, he's useless. Like, he doesn't send her back home or really help. No, because, like, doesn't he say, like, when all the...
I need to watch that movie.
The Tin Man and the Scarecrow. Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever actually seen the original Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I haven't watched it all.
Maybe that needs to be on our list at some point, too.
Yeah. In gravity.
Because he definitely was trying to portray himself as magical, and he wasn't magical in the original stuff as well. And so maybe that's, like, the extent of his badness is it's like, you're not, like, good.
Big old liar.
Yeah. But I know that in at least the Wizard of Oz Jr. musical that I went and saw, like, you know, he gives the Scarecrow a diploma, and, like, with the Tin Man, he's like, I mean, you care about these people, so you've had a heart all along. And with the lion, it's like, and you did things that were super scary, so you've been brave all along. But I don't know if that's just because it's also the Wizard of Oz Jr. Was that a rewrite?
No.
I don't know.
I think that does happen in the actual movie.
I think so. So I think that's more how he's portrayed.
I do love the idea of the wizard, though.
Yeah.
Like a normal guy coming to a magical world and just building like a empire off of fooling people into thinking he's magical.
Uh-huh.
By just being like a snake oil salesman. That's pretty interesting. I couldn't beat racism. This is a hard one.
You couldn't beat racism.
Yeah.
It is a hard one.
I mean, none of us can beat racism single-handedly. I give this one a gold star that says, terrific.
Good job.
Yeah.
Our
You're a star. That's what I was
Okay, we didn't discuss
saying.
our new rating system.
A rating system.
I'll give it a gold star two, and then we'll figure out
Okay.
what we're doing for the next one. For realsies this time, because that's what we said last time too. Yep. You'll just see next week we'll be like, I give it an apple. Good job.
I give an apple with no wormholes. 0 wormholes.
To Dial of Destiny, I give an apple full of wormholes and worms.
Yeah.
And it's actually just the core
Yeah.
that's full of worms and wormholes. And it turns out you ate that apple before you realized it had all the worms. And now there's worms in you. That's what Dial of Destiny is.
That's a good rating.
Stay tuned, folks. This is going to be very scientific for us.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Bye.
Goodbye.